Hi, I'm Jamie with The Saving Secret, where I help you become more intentional with your money. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Fidelity's zero cost index funds. They have 4 of them. They've been around for 2.5 years. I'm going to talk about their performance. I'm going to talk about which ones that I have in my portfolio and if it makes sense for you, so you're not going to want to miss it. So Fidelity has done it again. They are doing everything they can to attract new customers and help continue to offer great quality products. So if you're new to my channel, I've done a lot of different reviews about some of the Fidelity products that they have already. Specifically, if we go over here to the index fund page, what they're doing is they're really upping their game and they're making the barrier to entry so low. So if you look here, they're committed to giving you value. They've introduced a zero expense ratio. That's the one I'm going to be talking about today. 0 to minimum invest, which is great. No minimum to open an account and no fees for retail brokerage accounts, and 24/7 support. So if you're interested in getting into investing, Fidelity is a great platform. I've used them. They're not sponsoring this video in any way, but I just want you to know this is what I do with my money and want to invest with it. So here are the 4 mutual fund index funds that we're going to go over that have the 4 expense ratios of 0. And so let's jump into it. So the first one is Fidelity Zero Large Cap Index Fund. So this particular fund is under the large blend category. It's been around for about 2.5 years. Again, has an expense ratio of 0. And it's performing total assets. That means there's about $3.2 billion worth of assets that are in this mutual fund. Those are people who've invested money into it. So it's not a small one, but it's definitely young. Looking at the objective, it's always a good idea to look at this, is the fund seeks to provide an investment results that correspond to the total return of large capitalization in the US. So that's basically your S&P 500. So here's a little bit about the annual returns, but I'll show you some better indexes that show you the growth. I like this chart right here, the hypothetical growth of $10,000, because it shows if you had started with $10,000 basically right when it opened, here's where it is. If you look at it, it basically performs almost exactly to the US large cap. So it's a great fund so far. If you look at calendar year totals, so again, this is particularly from January 1st to December 31st. How has it performed? And to be honest with you, it's performed right in line with where it should. Again, for no cost is really amazing. So if you come down here and you might be saying, well, what makes up this great stock? And this is what the portfolio looks like and the different weightings. It's a large blend of the top 500. So if you look at this, the top 10 make up 26.5% of the holdings. And there's about 516 holdings that are in this particular index fund. So again, this is a particular one, Fnilx, that I actually do have in my portfolio. Basically mirroring the S&P 500, and I think it's a great one to check out. The next one to consider is Fidelity Zero Extended Market Index Fund. So this one is a mid-cap blend. It's been around for about 2.5 years. Again, the expense ratio of 0. And again, this fund seeks investments at a total return of mid to small cap US companies. So a little bit slightly different objective. If you look at it, the return has been really strong early in 2021. And so we'll get into sharing some of the insights there. If you come down to the hypothetical growth, if you look at it, it is pretty well trended exactly with the Fidelity US Extended Invest right there, again, within $10, right where it needs to be. Calendar year returns, it's actually right in line, actually did a little bit better than its counterpart of the extended, and right a little bit less over there in 2020, but in this year, it's pretty much spot on. So pretty interesting growth here. You scroll down, what makes up the portfolio? Like I said, it's the small to mid cap blend. So these are the non 500 that you're talking about. So the top 10 holdings are about 5.8% of the total portfolio. It's about 1,900 different stocks that are found within there with a zero equity. So I think it's really a great item as well. I actually have this as well in my portfolio. This is one that I'm regularly buying. It goes perfectly well in my perspective with the Fidelity 500 because that way you have both covered. So the next one to talk about is the Fidelity Zero Total Market Index Fund. This is ticker symbol FZROX. This is a great one. This is considered a large blend. And this one is a little bit older, but about 2.5 years old as well. This one has quite a bit of funds in it. It's got $8 billion worth of assets that are managed in this portfolio. The objective is to seek the results that correspond to the total return of a broad range of U.S. stocks. So this is kind of like your total market. Here are the returns that they show up here. Let's scroll down to the hypothetical of 10,000. If you were to track it here, where does it track? Right in line with the U.S. total investable market, pretty much right there. You would have got an extra $7. If you look at calendar year returns, a little bit down last year, a little bit higher in 2019, and then right in line as 2021 progresses. If you look at scrolling down here, what makes up it is part of that large blend because 22% of the portfolio is still made up of these top 10 companies, which looks very similar to what we saw in the S&P 500. But instead of having 500 stocks, this has 2,400 stocks. So this is kind of like a blend of both the other two index funds that we looked at earlier. And so this is ticker symbol FZROX. And the last Fidelity free index fund is the Fidelity Zero International Index. So if you want to get involved in international stocks, this is a great one to get in here. So the category is foreign large blend. Again, there's an expense ratio of 0. They have about $2.3 billion worth of assets that are managed within this. If we scroll down to how the hypothetical growth has been, if we follow this one, it actually is a little bit lower than the Fidelity Global excluding US. So a little bit lower, about $120. So very interesting to see a slight gap there. If we look at the year over year returns, this one was significantly lower at almost 40 basis points. This one was at 16. This one is only 4 basis points down. So it's getting a little bit closer, but this one's not quite as tight as it is with some of the other index funds. Again, if we scroll down looking at what makes up the fund, there is a little bit less than all of the other funds if you look at the global ex-US, so a little bit lower, and they have this multi-sector, and I believe that might be what's affecting the overall performance because that's where you notice it's a little bit less than some of the other ones. And here are the top 10 holdings, these companies right here. They make up almost 11% of the portfolio, but there's still 2,100 stocks that are in this particular index fund. So just another way of investing in the market to get different returns. So I hope you found this information helpful. If you're looking to just get involved in the stock market and you don't know where to get started, again, investing in index funds a great way to get started. These are just a couple of ideas for educational purposes only that you can consider if it makes sense for you to invest in it. Again, I've done other videos of how to set up a brokerage account or roll over a 401k if that's something you're interested in. If you have any questions about any of these particular index funds or how I can help, please write them in the comment section below. If you're interested, please stay tuned. I've got some other videos that will help you be more intentional with your money. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.